88% of plans fail. The PER framework, why 88% of plans fail and how to beat those odds. Now, I'm not saying, don't plan. In fact, if you don't plan, that failure rate goes even higher. But here's what I want you to really understand. Plan isn't just about getting everything right. It's about knowing actually where to aim. Where are we heading? A lot of people don't even, start the year with doing any type of planning, and then no wonder they sort of get in 4 or 5 months and they're not even quite sure where they need to be or where they're heading. So today what I want to do is I want to share with you my PER framework. Plan, execute, results. And show you what actually bridges the gap between thinking about it and getting it done. Einstein once was asked, if a comet was going to hit the planet in 24 hours, how would you spend your time? Now, they interviewed all the greats of that time. Most people said, we spend 2 hours planning, 10 hours executing. If we fail to plan, we go again. Einstein said he'd spend 23 hours planning, making sure it was right, and 1 hour executing. Now, that's an interesting construct. The clearer your plan, the less execution you need, right? Because you've thought about it over and over again. You've worked smarter rather than harder. But here's the trap. Most people overcomplicate their plans until they actually become useless, and no wonder they can't execute. Your plan needs to do 2 things. It needs to be simple, but strategic. See, simple is hard. It's easy to overcomplicate a plan. I've met businesses that, I'm sitting in there for an hour and I still don't know what they're doing. I've seen people literally spend 6 months planning a website. I mean, mate, I could have built you a road to the moon in that time, right? Pretty simple. Now, strategic also means it's connected to your actual goal. And here's the thing about goals. You need to be crystal clear about the outcome first. If you don't know what you want, how the hell are you going to get there? Let me give you an analogy. A guy walks into a restaurant. Waitress asks, what do you want to eat, sir? He says, just get me whatever I'm hungry. So she goes to the chef and she said, there's a guy that's hungry. He said, what does he want? She said, just get him some food. So the chef gives him fish soup, some vegetarian stuff. She brings it back and he says, I don't eat any of this. Now, whose fault is that? It's not the chef's. He wasn't clear about what he wanted. It's not the waitress. The person just wasn't clear about what he wanted. So he got exactly what he wanted, but it wasn't exactly what he was after. Same thing in business. If you're not clear about the results you want, don't be surprised when you don't get it or you get something similar, but it's not exactly what you're after. Between planning and execution is the bridge called what? Process. And your processes need to be efficient and applicable. It's no use trying to get a big goal if you don't have the team ready. Now, efficiency, as an example, means based on time and on money, regardless of what business that you're in. If you're going to plan to grow, let's say, from 400K to 3 million in 12 months, the first question is, have you got the money? Second, have you got the time? Third, have you got the team? And are you going to work 24/7? If the answer is no to all or any of those, well, you've got a process problem before you've even started the execution. Do you see? The process needs to be right. Now, applicable means what? The right person that can actually do it. You're not going to tell the first-year apprentice to do intricate, gold leaf detailing, right? They don't have the skill set to do that if you're a painter. Now, execution then comes down to 2 things, time and team. You need to get it done on time and you need to get the right personnel to do it. Sometimes that's you. You're still a team of 1. I had painters, right, hire a subby to take the pressure off. Made all these plans. He'd be on the job by himself. They'd all be separate so they could do multiple jobs, as an example. Then they put him on the job alone, and guess what? He just couldn't do it. The plan was fine. The execution failed because of the skill set, right? That's why what's cool about this is, the try before you buy actually matters when you're going to hire somebody, if that's your objective in your plan. You test somebody's capability before the whole plan actually depends on them, right? Now, the third part is the results part, right? So if you think about it, you've got the plan, you've got the execution, now it's about results. And I believe that results are dictated by skill set. Think about a Formula One pit stop. Could you and I walk in and maybe change 4 tyres? We probably could, but I doubt we're going to do it in 2.4 seconds. There's no chance. We'd fumble, maybe drop the gun, miss the car a little bit, right? Because we just don't have that skill set. The better the skill set, the easier the result, because somebody's already trained. That's why Olympians make it look amazing. That's why incredible, athletes make things look so easy. And results come literally in 2 forms. What? Income or outcome. That's a business. It's based on that. More money, new clients, more people, that's income. Working less, better systems, more freedom, that's outcome, right? Both matter, but you need to measure what matters. Let me give you an example. I spoke to a client today. His business costs him about $120,000 a week to run. He always has about 20 to 30K sitting in his account. So I asked, what would be a good target? And we use the PER methodology, plan, execution, results. He said $500,000 in cash reserve. I've got 1 month worth of trading in there. I said, well, let's start with 3 months. But that's a good first goal, right? We've set it. Now let's get to it. He said, I don't know how we can do that. And I shared with him, well, you make about 400K plus a month. What if we just took 20Ks out and we put it into a savings account? In 12 months, guess what? You've got 240K. You can't afford it in some months. It's all right. Do 10 or 5K, whatever you can. The simplest measurement is what? The simplest measurement is to go, is my account growing? Am I putting money away? The plan is I need to put money away, and guess what? Sometimes, well, the map's not the terrain. Sometimes things, change, things happen, things need to be adjusted. So the plan itself and the execution needs to work together, because sometimes the goalposts move. But having a plan is actually better than not having one. At least once again, which direction that you're aiming in. So for 2026, I want you to think, what results do I actually want? Be crystal clear about this. Is my plan simple but strategic, not complicated and unachievable? And do I have the time, the team, and the skill to execute? Because 88% of plans fail, but that means 12% succeed. That's what's really, really cool about this, right? So you want to stack the odds in your favor. Sound good? I'm Nick Seiler. Now, if you want some help with this, simply comment plan below. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you on the next episode.